Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is yours truly, Miss Jazzy, on behalf of the Jazzy Report, and I have some amazing guests with me today just to be able to talk about some very important topics concerning Census 2020 with Miss Sabrina Reeder, and then again Miss Lawson Wetli is going to be able to talk about redistricting and gerrymandering. So these are two very important things that I think that people either they're confused or don't really understand about, and so I'm going to just take an opportunity, ladies, to ask a couple questions, have a discussion that we can share this information in a manner that people can, be aware of what's happening. The fact that the census, which takes place this year, happens every 10 years, and the redistricting, redrawing those lines, happens every 10 years, and that's going to be for 2021. What a perfect opportunity for us to be able to share and continue to get the word out there that people can, for one, get involved and participate. So the fact that we are really right now into the Census 2020, and what I'm excited about, because I personally had an opportunity to do this, the first time ever is being offered electronically.
That's right. Yep. It's the first time you can do it online. In the past, we've only had paper questionnaires. So this time you have three options. You can wait and get a paper questionnaire in the mail, but why wait when beforehand you're going to get the notification that takes you to your website, and you can complete it with your code that comes in the mail, and you're done. And if you need further assistance, you can also call a number, and you can complete it on the phone.
So there's no excuse. So
None.
Whether you complete it by the old way, I would say, by paper, or if you do it electronically online, or like you say, you can call the phone number that you can get assistance, that they can walk you through the application process. And I mean literally 10 minutes and you're done. And I can speak from experience because I had an opportunity to complete mine just yesterday.
Good.
And
I'm jealous. I haven't done
I'm excited about it, because we talk about the importance of why we need to do our census, that everyone is counted. So talk real quick about just the importance of what the census actually does for the communities here.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone does count, and it's regardless of your age, your sex, your gender, etc. It means money in your communities. It helps with all public assistance. You get federal funding that is based on that population count. So you always have to remember that the funding follows the data and not the need, because we can have a great need in the community, but if we don't show up and show that our numbers need that assistance, we're not going to receive that.
That's good.
So it's federal funding. It's being represented fairly in the House of Representatives, having an accurate number to actually represent our population, and it's your civic duty. It's constituted it's mandated by the Constitution. It's just important to make sure that you're counted.
It is, and it says this is required by law. So it is so important, and because when I think about redistricting, because of all the growth, but then again the change that births, and then people die, and then people are relocating into the area, and then we think about the upstate of where we're located here in Greenville, South Carolina. I mean, I can imagine the next 3 years we might have another 500,000 people that could be moving here. So it's so important when we think about redistricting, and I know there's a lot of people that may be confused or kind of trying to figure out what's going on, and I know you have a wonderful presentation that you were able to break down the simplicity of someone being able to understand. But talk briefly about what really takes place in 2021 when this whole redistricting happens.
Absolutely. So one thing that is incredibly important is to get the census with full and fair information, because everything that happens in 2021 with redistricting will be based on that information, and as Sabrina said, it follows the data. And the reason why redistricting is really important, and I know that I think the word kind of sounds complicated and intimidating, but at the most basic level, it's just about drawing the district lines in a way that helps voters choose their representatives. And the problem right now with gerrymandering is that when lines are drawn incorrectly, where politicians are drawing them to protect themselves or their parties.
And it happens.
And I mean, to me, it is human nature to act in your own self-interest. And with the people that have the power are drawing the lines in their own self-interest, it means that right now, politicians are picking their voters rather than the other way around. And because it is only 10 years, this is going to have long-term implications. The redistricting that happens next year, it will be drawing lines for South Carolina seats in the U.S. House. It will be drawing lines for our South Carolina legislature here in Greenville. It'll be county council, it'll be city council, it'll be all of those lines are going to be drawn. And it's really important, I think, It's important that rules be fair.
Yeah.
And what we really want at the basic level is fair rules and fair maps and for the voters to be in the driver's seat.
Well, and I think about, all of that being said, and we're thinking 2021 is not that far away. So for someone, Lawson, that's really watching, like, what can we be doing now to help prepare for this whole redistricting? Because when you think about the lines determines who votes where, right? And then the voters decide who represents them. And then the representatives is the one that makes the law that govern our states and our country, affecting the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the taxes we pay. So,
Absolutely.
this is very important. So if you've not heard about this before now, this is really breaking it down so you understand. But I wanted to be able to share with all those that would view this, what can we as individuals be doing now preparing up to 2021?
That's such a great question, because I think at the end of the day, we as members of this community need to know what can we actually do about something. And the most important thing that each and every one of us can do right now is to get in touch with our state legislators. That's our state representative, that's our state senator, and let them know that we support redistricting reform and we want them to support it too. The reason why that's the most important thing is because here in South Carolina, it is our state legislators, the one in the General Assembly in Columbia, who are going to be drawing the lines. And, so on the one hand, the people who have the power to make these decisions are exactly the people who have the most interest in drawing it to help themselves. So in that sense, you can look at it like an uphill battle. But I think there's a lot of reason for hope, because something that we know is that voters across party lines by strong majorities support redistricting reform. And so together we can act on this, and together we can make this happen, but we have to let the politicians representing us know where we stand and know that we're watching.
Yeah, that's so important. So again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This is just an exciting opportunity to share this knowledge as well as information for all of you that are watching on behalf of the Jazzy Report. So again, Ms. Reeder, as we're talking about Census 2020, April 1st has been declared Census Day.
Right.
So whether anyone has completed it by then, that's not the absolute cutoff date, because they have until...
You have until the end of July.
Okay.
So it's actually August when all the information goes to our government, to our national government. I mean, you have until the end of July, but we just say, why wait?
Yeah.
So the coalition, we have a lot of incentives to help encourage people to finish it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and complete it.
I know, and then again, with everything that's going on and people maybe being confined to their homes,
Right.
the idea is being able to, whether you do it online, whether you do the paper application that you get, and I mean, I've had different scenarios that were addressed, even as I was sharing my experience of being able to get it done. I had someone that said, well, they threw theirs away, or
Right.
it was stained, or listen, you can still complete the census for the count. Whether you have the ID number that was assigned, don't let anything or anyone deter you from making sure that your account...
That you're counted, yeah. And keep that in mind, because your census letter is not going to have your name. It
That's
will
right.
say to the resident of and your address, because it's based again on your address, So don't think it's junk mail. It clearly says from the U.S. Census Bureau. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Better yet, keep it at the forefront of your mind, because now it's time.
Yeah.
And you'll receive it in the mail and you'll say, oh, this is what they're talking about. Let me go ahead and get it out the way it's done.
And here's another thing I wanted to address really quick, because I do know that there's fear in some of sharing their information, especially for the undocumented population. And so talk a minute just to the ease of knowing that this oath that the workers even take, and the fact that their information won't be shared.
Absolutely. So the safety and the security and the confidentiality of the census is one of the huge priorities of the U.S. Census Bureau as a whole. So every Census Bureau worker does take a lifetime oath. And that oath is basically saying that this information we're receiving is only going to be used for data and statistical purposes. It's only going to be used within our bureau. We cannot give it to any other federal agency, any other governmental agency, any other court agency. And if that oath is breached, then it is punishable by law.
Wow.
So it's up to 5 years imprisonment. It's up to a $250,000 fine.
Wow.
So it's a no-nonsense approach. Like, we are only using this for the purpose that it is to be used for the redistricting, for the distribution of funds. We're not using it to share any identifiable information.
Right.
So you can kind of have some confidence and rest assured that you're being counted for the right reasons.
Right. And your count matters.
Yes.
So we want all of you to definitely participate. We encourage you to do it now. Don't wait until later, because again, this is so important, because as redistricting along with the Census 2020, they really go hand in hand, because again, with the census, with all of those that are being counted, it does affect how those lines are redrawn. And so I just want to also give you an opportunity real quick, Lawson, to talk about the importance of people, again, getting involved now versus later, and specifically breaking it down as what the House bill number is, and like if they were to pick up the phone right now and call their legislator, like what will they say?
Thank you so much for asking. And I would encourage people, so there is a bill in the South Carolina House of Representatives right now. The bill number is H3054. And so we do encourage you to support this particular bill. I will say that just practically speaking, I think the most important thing that people can actually do is have a sense in their mind of what redistricting reform is, which is making the rules fair and making sure that voters are choosing their representatives and not the other way around. And if you just contact your state legislator and say, hi, I'm your constituent, and I want you to support redistricting reform because I want my vote to matter, I want my voice to count. I think just, again, specifically, absolutely Bill H3054, but honestly, any bill that promotes fair maps and fair lines is going to be a step in the right direction. And so, I mention often right now, a lot of decisions are made in back rooms. And it's so important for us as community members, as voters, to throw that door open and shine that sunshine in, because sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Yeah. So again, for ladies and gentlemen, those of you that have tuned in for this episode of the Jazzy Report, I want to thank Miss Sabrina Reeder along with Miss Lawson Wetli just for sharing their information again regarding Census 2020 along with the redistricting and gerrymandering. There's so much more that we could share, but I think hopefully this has been, just enough information to get you guys, talking the buzz about it, sharing the information, but most importantly, making your vote count, picking up the phone, calling your legislator, letting them know about this House bill that you want them to support as far as this whole redistricting reform. And so listen, it's important. It is so important. And it matters that you vote. It matters that you get involved. Ms. Reeder, I want to give you an opportunity to share the website that they can definitely get more information, kind of get some of their frequently asked questions answered, or to be able to take them directly where they can complete their Census 2020 online.
Sure. So it is greenvillecounts.org. You can also reach us on Facebook at Greenville Counts on Facebook and Greenville Counts 2020 on Instagram. So Greenville Counts and Greenville Counts 2020 on Instagram. We're especially going to make sure that any modifications for our local efforts, because there will be a lot of changes with everything happening and impacting our environment right now, our communities, that we are going to change some of those. So any information is going to be on our social media and website as well. The website to actually go and complete your census will be given to you in your mailed notification. So that's going to be there along with your verification code, and that's what you would input so that they make sure your answers correspond to the correct address. It also prevents any duplication in the future as well, so they know once you've completed it. So www.greenvillecounts.org.
Yes, and so again, big shout out to the South Carolina Women in Leadership Group for just making this information available. And again, I know you have such a passion as far as people actively getting involved with the Women League of Voters. And so for someone that maybe even want to connect with you just for the information that you've been able to share, and if they have specific questions, how can they connect, or where can you lead them to find out more information?
Absolutely. So the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that operates at the federal, state, and local level. I'm the president of the League of Women Voters of Greenville County, for instance, and you can find us at my.lwv.org. Again, we're a nonpartisan organization. We never support or oppose a party or a candidate, but we are 100% team voter about helping connect people to their, the power within them to become an active, vital, community member representing their own civic interests.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. Again, yours truly, Miss Jazzy, here on behalf of the Jazzy Report.